guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to come on here and share with you all my thoughts and my opinions on the new Too Faced. It's actually been out for a couple weeks, so it's not quite new anymore anyway on YouTube world anyway, because anything older than a couple days on YouTube is like years. So anyway, this palette came out a couple weeks ago. It is the Too Faced Power Makeup by Nikkie Tutorials palette. So it comes in this box right here. It's really nice. And then on the back, it's going to tell you everything that comes inside of here. It's got the Too Faced palette. It's going to have a Too Faced dust glitter. It's going to have a full-size sketch marker, a deluxe eyeshadow deluxe shadow insurance eye primer, a deluxe Better Than Sex mascara, and an exclusive shade. And then it's going to have a couple eye looks here. Now I will tell you, first of all, somehow I've lost all the eye looks. I have no idea what I've done with them. So that's beyond me what I've done with those shades there. Not the shades, but the actual guides. I have no idea. I've looked everywhere all over my beauty room and I cannot find them. So I do not have those to share with you all. But if you're interested in seeing what they look like, I'll show you kind of a close-up right here. This is what they look like. They're just some pictures of Nikkie putting on the eye makeup and using different eye looks. So sorry about that. So I don't have that to share with you all. But the palette, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So my thoughts and my opinions on it. I feel like everyone on YouTube it's either you love it or you hate it. I don't feel like there's any in between for this palette. And I honestly stand like middle ground. I don't feel like I hate it and I don't feel like I love it. So I will let you know that first of all. I'm not going to be returning the palette. I will be keeping it. So that's something else to note, because to me, if I'm going to absolutely hate a product, I'm going to return it. Why waste my money? I'm not returning it. So here's what the actual palette looks like. It's just this cute little leopard print palette. And then on the back it says this little saying by Nikkie, and it says, "When life gives you lemons, punch it in the face and ask for glitter," which is something that Nikkie would definitely say. If you've never seen Nikkie Tutorials, I definitely recommend checking out her channel. She is a fantastic makeup artist. So on the inside, you open it up, you get 9 eyeshadows, you get 2 blushes, you get a bronzer, and you get a highlight. So let's first talk about these shadows here. The shadow quality is not bad on most of them. Most of them, I feel like the shadow quality is really good, actually. But there's a few. For example, Frosted Yum is not good. When you try to get into it with a brush, I feel like it's got a lot of texture to it. But when you actually apply it to your eye, it's got a lot of pigmentation. So it's not bad getting onto your face. It's just bad getting it out of the palette. So I don't know if you understand what I mean there. If you've ever tried a palette trying to use it and the shades feel like they're really hard, really has a lot of texture to them, and you're trying to get it out and it feels like it's like impossible to do. That to me is how Frosted Yum feels. Now, as for the Wanted, the black shade, that's a great shade. However, it doesn't blend very well and it's not quite as pigmented as I would prefer for it to be, for being a black shade. I feel like it could be a little more pigmented. Now, the rest of them, I feel like they work great. I feel like Ivy's pretty good. Sugar Coated's really great. Irresistible is amazing. Painkiller is really great. Makeup and Chill is actually a great color to put into the outer corner of your eye. If you're looking for a nice outer corner color, that works wonderfully. Mystic Hour is actually what I'm wearing on the under part of my eye. Wham Bam is actually what I'm wearing in the outer corner and then up in the crease a little bit. And then of course Wanted down here. So let's swatch all of these colors out so you can see what they look like swatched. I'm just going to do finger swatches because I'm sure if you want to see more brushes, more eye looks, you can probably find those throughout YouTube. I just want to give you my opinion because I feel like I said, I feel like everybody is either you hate it or you love it. And I feel like a lot of the people that loved it, people were saying were the people that the palette was given to. And honestly, I don't feel like that's true. I feel like that's completely not true. I feel like this palette is really good. I feel like it's getting a lot of negativity for no reason because it actually is a good palette. I just feel like people were, I don't know if they were expecting too much or what's going on here. But I feel like this is actually a really nice palette. I don't feel like it's lives up to the par of Too Faced quality. I feel like some of the items are hits and misses, but I feel like even in the Too Faced chocolate bar palette, I feel like you have a couple misses. So I don't feel like you're going to have a couple, I don't feel like you're going to have a complete palette that you're always going to have every shade that's going to work for you. So my opinion on this palette is that I really do like it. I don't love it. I like it. So again, let's start swatching this palette. So let me take off my watch here so you can get some good swatches so you can see how this palette actually looks. So let's start up here in the corner on to Ivy. So Ivy is a matte white. So it's a matte white. So there's exactly what it looks like. And I will hold it side by side so you can see there's finger swatch and then there's palette. So here is what Ivy looks like swatched on my hand. There is Ivy. So you can see it's got great pigmentation. I had no problems picking it up on my finger. It blended great. I mean, it didn't blend great, it swatched great. Now we're going to do Sugar Coated. Sugar Coated is more of a satin finish, and this one does have a little bit more of a texture to it, and it has a pretty good amount of kick up. If you can see right here, it's got a good amount of kick up coming up on this product. So if you don't like shadows that have a lot of kick up, you probably won't like this shadow because it does have a lot of kick up. So there is the finger swatch and the color in the palette. So now let's swatch it here. So this is Sugar Coated. So as you can see, Sugar Coated is a little bit more of a satiny, shimmery color. And it does, like I said, have a little bit of kick up. It's got a little bit of sparkle in there. And I think that's what's making it have so much kick up, because it's got a little bit of the sparkle in it. The next color is Frosted Yum. And Frosted Yum is the one I have the most trouble getting onto my brush. But like when I start to put it onto my eye, it's the one that has the best. Between Frosted Yum and Irresistible, they have the most impact for like the inner corners part, like the inner part of your eye. If you want to make something pop on your eye, it's good to put a nice light color in there, something that's got a lot of iridescence to it. And both, not really iridescence, but shimmer, shine, whatever you want to call it. So those two work really great for that, but they're just hard to pick. This one is hard to pick up on the brush. So Frosted Yum is like a gray color, and it looks like this swatched on my finger, and then there it is in the palette. And then here it is swatched on my hand. So there is the color swatched. Again, it's really, really pretty, and it swatches nice. It's just a little harder to pick up with the brush. Then we have Irresistible. So that was Frosted Yum. Irresistible is a gold color, and the gold color right here is on my finger, and then there in the palette. And here it is swatched. And that is another beautiful shade, and it looks really nice on the inner part of your eye. And really, really pretty color. Then we have Painkiller. Painkiller is a really nice transition color. For me, it works great for a transition color. And Painkiller here is on my finger, and then here in the palette. And Painkiller, you're not going to be able to see too much on my skin, to be honest with you. You're going to see it, but it's not going to be super dark because it's more of a transition color that it's almost my skin color. And then the next one is Makeup and Chill. And Makeup and Chill is another matte shade. And matte shade, Painkiller was also a matte shade. So Makeup and Chill is right here. And it's a very, see, this one's got a little bit of, it's nice. This one actually on the eye works out a lot better than what it's swatching right here, because I will tell you, when I put this on the outer part of my eye, it works great. I have no problems with it whatsoever. Then we have Mystic Hour. Mystic Hour and Wham Bam are my favorite pops of color in this palette. I just think that they're just gorgeous. I know that they are the only pops of color, but I think they're great, honestly. Mystic Hour looks like this swatched on my finger, and then this swatched on my arm. Look how gorgeous that is. And that, again, is what I'm wearing on the bottom part, under part of my eye here. That is what I have on today, and I think it worked out really great. I love it. Then Wham Bam is this purple shade, and it's more a satin type shade. And here is Wham Bam. Beautiful. I love this purple and that blue together. That, I just think that makes a really gorgeous eye look. Then Wanted is your black matte shade. And here is, whoops, sorry, Wanted. And here is Wanted. So again, it looks a little patchy right here, but honestly, that one is patchy. So I will say that Wanted actually is patchy. The other one, the, what was the shade? Sorry. The Makeup and Chill. Makeup and Chill is not patchy at all once you put it on your eyes. But Wanted is for some reason, and I'm not sure if it's because it's a black shade, and black is a really hard color to get correct. Even, I've had many, many palettes where black is just not the best color, best one to get good pigmentation out of. It's hard to get that one right. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. If you're going to use that black shade a lot, then I would definitely consider that. The next thing we're going to look at is the two blushes on here. So now here's where I want to do a little bit of comparison. I do have both of these blushes in the full size. So we have I Will Always Love You and Justify My Love. So here is I Will Always Love You in the full size. Here's what it looks like. And then I'll show you in the pan here. So, and you'll see almost immediately there's a little bit of a difference. The colors, this looks a little bit lighter and this looks a little bit darker. Maybe not so much in the camera, but honestly in real life, it does. Okay, so now let's swatch the two side by side. So let's make sure my arm is dry. And here is the one in the full compact. So there is Justify My Love. No, I'm sorry, I Will Always Love You. I Will Always Love You right here from the original size. Now we'll swatch it from the Nikkie Tutorials palette. So here is from the Nikkie Tutorials palette. And you'll see it's just a lot lighter when you swatch it. For some reason, it looks darker in the pan and lighter when you swatch it. It's just not a whole lot of pigmentation to this. And I don't know why. You would think that, I mean, it's a formulation that they're already making, so you would think they would just use the same exact formulation in the palette. So I'm not sure if they're making it a little bit lighter so that it's a little bit easier for most people to use. But honestly, these full-size ones are really easy to use, so I have no clue what the difference is there. I just do know there is a difference. So now we're on to Justify My Love. Justify My Love looks like this when you swatch it. So it's nice, pretty, it's like a purpley pink. So there it is. And then here it is in the full size. And the full size swatches like this. So those two I think are pretty comparable, but there is a slight difference. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a slight difference still. I feel like the one in the palette this time now is actually darker than the one that is the original. So this time they've done the reverse. I feel like they didn't get the formulation completely correct for these blushes, which is fine. They're not bad quality, even being not the exact colors, which works great for me. So if you already have both of these in full size, just know that they're not the exact same shades, that they're off by a little bit. Not enough to where you're gonna notice a dramatic difference, not enough to where you, like it's one's pink, one's purple, nothing like that. It's just a little bit of a difference, so I just wanna let you know that. So now we're moving down to Chocolate Soleil. So Chocolate Soleil looks like this in the palette, and I will show you, I have a small Chocolate Soleil, and here's what it looks like. So to me, I think they look a little bit off, but when you swatch them, to be honest with you, I don't see much of a difference. There's a little bit of a difference, but not as major as you see in the blushes. So here are the two side by side swatched. And then here are the two swatched on my hand. There's not much difference at all, honestly, there. I think that they did a great job keeping the formulation this kind of similar. I feel like they're a tad different, but I think over time, I don't know if they adjust their formulas or what it is, but I feel like over time, I think the formulas changed just a tad. So I don't know, maybe that's just something that makeup companies do. They learn something, they might add something. I mean, I have no idea how makeup's created, so I have no idea what goes on there. So now we're moving on to Champagne Truffle. And Champagne Truffle, like I said, is in the Chocolate Bar palette. So let's see if there's any difference compared to the Chocolate Bar palette for Champagne Truffle. Champagne Truffle is the shade right here. Oops, let's see how I can hold this. And then here it is in the palette. So do you see a difference? So let's swatch them to see if there's a difference. So first we'll grab the one out of the Nikkie Tutorials palette here. And I want to let you know this is also really, really hard to get out. Like I am literally like scraping with my hand and it's hard to get out. And finally I get some on my hand and now I've got like a boatload, but it's more that it's so chunky. I mean, do you see how chunky that is? It's just not good quality. That to me is not good quality at all for the highlighter. But you can still use it for an eyeshadow. So I would not recommend using that for a highlighter, but I would definitely use it for an eyeshadow. So now here is the one out of the Chocolate Bar palette. Just a couple swipes along and I was able to get it. And the colored infrared, look how dark it is here. This is nice and pigmented and this is more muted out. But I think that they wanted this more muted since they kind of wanted it to be a highlighter. I feel like they muted it out a little bit more so that it would be a little bit more universal. But I just feel like it's not the same quality. So I feel like if you're thinking this palette, because it's got these items in it that are full-size items, if you're hoping and thinking that these items are going to be the same as the full-size, they're not, unfortunately. So now let's do a little comparison because I know everyone has compared the Nikkie Tutorial palette to the Stardust palette by Vegas Nay. So do you see any similarities here? Other than size, I think, you know, they do look very similar in size. But when you open these, you're going to see a big difference. So when you open the Stardust palette by Vegas Nay, neither one of them have a mirror. So that's something they both have in common. They both have the same size in common. And then when you open them though, I feel like there's not a whole lot of similarities. They might have a couple brown shades, but that's kind of impossible not to recreate. You need those brown shades. So I feel like these are not similar whatsoever. I feel like they've done a great job of keeping these kind of separated. I don't feel like even the purple in here on the Too Faced Stardust by Vegas Nay palette. The purple and the Nikkie Tutorials palette. Let's see. This is the one from Vegas Nay, and this is Nikkie Tutorials. They look a little similar on the hand, but when you swatch them, there's a difference. Do you see the big difference in coloration? So I think if you're hoping to get one of these palettes, or if you already have the Vegas Nay and you're thinking, oh, I don't need the Nikkie Tutorials because I have that one, and you were wanting to get it anyway, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say honestly here. What I'm trying to say is they're not the same. So if you are looking at this one here and thinking that these are similar, yes, they're going to have some similar aspects as far as the brown shades, but nothing else is really similar. I feel like they did a great job of making these different enough to where they've given these each their own personality, because these are two different women helping to create these two palettes, and I think they did a great job making these different. So I really do love both of these. Like both of these palettes. I would recommend the Nikkie Tutorials palette, but I don't think it's something that you have to go buy. So if you were looking at it and you were debating, I would say you could pass on it and you'd be okay. I wouldn't say you have to go out and buy it, but I do think it's nice, and I'm not gonna send it back or return it or whatnot. I will be keeping it, but it's not something that is high up on my list of recommendations. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch me today. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.